comments. Hey, everyone out there. Warren Peace here. As you can see, top right-hand corner is my man Pulse from Rekordbox, Pioneer DJ. Below Pulse is DJ Q from DMS. And to the left of Q is my man PJ, DMS, and a all-star YouTube sensation.
No.
It's very true.
And myself. I'm actually happy that PJ could join us because he spends so much time YouTubing. I didn't know if he'd have time to actually do this with us or not, but thank you so much. So the topic of this webinar is basically going to be about Rekordbox 6, the pros and cons. Do you have to upgrade? Why you should upgrade? Why you shouldn't upgrade? Do I have to pay? Like all those questions you guys have been asking, we're going to answer with this amazing panel in front of us. The other thing that I really wanted to get into is the strengths behind each DJ system. And I really feel that's important because now's the time. We have a bunch of time on our hands and everyone knows Serato. Serato seems to be like the king or whatever. But now's the time to learn other things. And there are a lot of benefits to Rekordbox that you guys really, if once you dig into, there's going to be a lot of pluses in that system. And I just think it's important that you guys go ahead and start looking at that. And another thing I want to say is most big producers, Q, you can help me out with this one. Most big time producers, they know more than one DAW. Like, yes. You know, you don't just know Ableton, you know Logic, you know, shit, they might even know FL Studio. That seems to be the bastard child. But everyone seems to know more than one DAW, any main producer. So with that being said, as a DJ, you really should try to learn other systems so that you can see the benefits of them, you know. Let me start off with, let's just start off with Rekordbox and version 6. Post, go ahead and give me a brief rundown of what the advantages and what's new in version 6 and everything like that.
Well, yeah, one of the big things is we've done away with licensing. Now, you sort of brought up the fact that people are it's a hot topic. I think where there's a misconception is that they have to buy something when almost all of our hardware that previously had a key is unlocking the software automatically. So it's that was a big change. We had plans before, and we still have plans now, but it's the hardware unlock is a big thing. And for those who have never used Rekordbox before, performance mode was something that was locked away behind that key, but it's now available to everybody for free. So you can go right now, download Rekordbox, and you actually get in there with your keyboard and mouse. You can check it out to see what it's all about before you even have to commit to anything. Never mind even going for a trial. You get that for free.
Right. So now, like you said, now that when you buy the gear or you have the gear, you actually get the performance mode of it free, which wasn't available last time.
Well, you had a key. You had a key.
Yeah. You're right. Exactly. Yeah. PJ, what other benefits are new to version 6 that you can tell us about?
Well, the library cloud sync, it's so much.
Whoop.
PJ, see?
You got cursed.
One of the guys from Virtual DJ came and kicked out PJ. Anyway, okay, so one of the things he was
I'll tell you about the cloud.
Yeah. Tell us about virtual, yeah.
So the cloud sync is a really cool way of being able to use one library and have it go across all your devices. So this is the most powerful for someone who is working in collaboration with like a tour manager. The average DJ, me working from home, I don't need it. But the guys who are a tour manager who wants to update the library from a second computer, or they've got mobile devices and they want to do it, just even the simple concept of, I just downloaded a song on iTunes on my phone, and now I want to go and analyze it. And then when I go home, it's in my collection on Rekordbox and ready to go.
Right.
That's pretty powerful.
And PJ, you got cut off there. Did you want to add anything to that?
No, that it was just a summary of the library cloud sync. But one of the cool things is like you could be on the go setting your hot cues and stuff on the mobile app. So
yeah, that's pretty interesting to me. I just upgraded, or I just downloaded Rekordbox 6 And the cloud sync is, I like the on-the-go aspect of like managing a library. No, I don't know. I haven't dived directly into cloud sync, but I'm assuming you just tie it to something like a Dropbox, services like that. Yeah.
Yeah, currently it's using Dropbox. It uses PioneerDJ servers for the database and then Dropbox for all your songs. So
wow.
It's even as much as you want to be able to upload. You can do it with a free plan with Dropbox, the 2 gigs, or you can have the 2 terabyte plan and just stuff everything on there.
So that was one of the questions I've had. So I've been using Rekordbox 5 for ever since the XP1 came out. I saw it at NAMM and I was like, okay, I need this controller. Doesn't work on Serato right now, so I'm going with this. And I want to do cloud sync, and I'm running into a couple issues. Can you give me like a step-by-step on how you would use cloud sync? And for you guys out there, cloud sync is on the top tier of the Rekordbox subscription service, but there's a lot of benefits, as everyone was saying, added to workflow and being able to do more on the go with it. But could you give us like a step-by-step of how you would do cloud sync, Pulse?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the first thing is you have your library in Rekordbox. So you've got your music imported there, and all you're going to do is, with the plan activated, the creative plan, you also end up linking your Dropbox account. So you basically say, log in there. It associates the two, and much like any other secure Dropbox integration, it's a guaranteed security between the two. So when you go and upload a song, simply by right-clicking on it and say upload to cloud, or you can do it with a playlist, upload to cloud. It puts those files into Dropbox for you, and it will either copy or move the songs. So depending on how you've got things organized in your library, you could end up with duplicates. Now that's the one thing I warn people about, is if you're going to have it on your hard drive already, maybe put it in your Dropbox folder, even if you don't sync that folder. At least that way it's in the same place, so that it doesn't think it's going to make a copy, because you can actually upload it and it'll stay where it is. So the DJs who are really particular about their folder structure, they want to put everything into a specific year and then the genre or even the source that they got it from, that they can keep that instead of it collapsing into this like ridiculous flat file structure. So it's, you right click on the song, upload to cloud, that's it, it's ready to go. Then you go to your other computer, you can just click and play. As long as Dropbox is set up to synchronize those files, you've got them.
On your other computer, this is why I'm getting lost. On your other computer, so my setup is probably similar to what Q has. Is I have a big workstation, and I do all my mining and hunting for records on this, and then I move to my laptop. So cloud sync is very appealing to me because I can just do everything here, and then it will all be over there. Yeah. So would I actually sync my workstation computer to it, or would I just upload one by one after they're done? Like select them all and go, okay, now upload to the cloud.
Yeah, you can do them all at once. It's whatever you're easy with, because in Dropbox, it's synchronizing those files in the background. So depending on how fast your internet connection is, or even doing the local sync for the Dropbox, it's going to send those files over so they're available, and your database is synchronizing in the background automatically. Mm-hmm. So you'll see, and what's amazing is if you've got 2 computers open at the same time that they're synchronized, you add a hotkey on one track, even if it's loaded to a deck on the other one, it appears. It's like, oh! What's really amazing is the engineers thought about also timing as well. So if you did the same song open in 2 places and you make one change and then you make another change, it's going to take whichever one's newer as being the parent. So it'll intelligently deal with multiple changes.
Okay. We still have a bunch of questions coming, and you guys keep the questions coming. I'm looking at them on YouTube right now. And PJ, can you go over? PJ did an incredible video on YouTube, one of many that PJ has on YouTube on Rekordbox. Can you go over the subscriptions and what's in each subscription real quick? Because we have a couple questions about each subscription.
Okay, the free plan is basically your export mode and your hardware unlock. So number one, there's a lot of people have been asking, it's like, oh, do I have to pay for Rekordbox 6 now? Well, it depends on what hardware you have. Like there's several controllers. I don't know off the top of my head, but they're listed on the FAQ on the Rekordbox website. So the next plan, sorry, brain fart. What was the second plan?
The core plan.
The core plan is basically for the hardware that doesn't have the hardware unlock. You get the DVS, you get the performance for those specific hardware. And of course, the creative plan is extra features like RMX and most importantly, the cloud library sync.
Yeah, you also had the video and lyric functions in there as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And then
go ahead.
I was gonna say, go ahead, Q. Say what you're gonna say.
Oh no, I had a follow up like with the cloud library sync.
Okay,
but
go
go ahead. Oh, so because I haven't delved, I just downloaded it right now because I haven't delved into the Rekordbox iPhone app in a long time.
Yeah.
Since you guys like had first released it, so I'm curious then with the cloud sync because if I'm not mistaken, with the Rekordbox app, if you have your library on it, you could connect it to a Pioneer device, and this would essentially be your USB device.
Yeah, so they've actually integrated some new ways of connecting. It's no longer connecting directly to the top of the player, and there's some really technical reasons for it. But you can actually now just network it in, or you can connect it into the back of the device if you've got one like the camera kit for your phone. So you're using a regular A to B cable to plug it into the back of the CDJ, and you're then just using it as if it were a networked or linked source.
So with Cloud Sync, then I could essentially like basically the music. Well, when you do Cloud Sync on the mobile device, is it on a track by track basis that it's going to download it?
Yeah. So you actually select the ones that you want to download, as opposed to your computer where Dropbox will just bring it all in. We recognize that your phone storage is at a premium, so it's limited.
Yeah, if I want to have like pretty much like, okay, I did a playlist that I in my head, I'm like, all right, well, I want to go ahead and sync it with my device as a USB backup, and I have the connections, with me, where I have a USB drive. I mean, I've had that happen plenty of times where like I've had a USB drive just not work.
Yeah.
Then I could pretty much use my phone and tie everything together with Cloud Sync then.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's awesome. All right.
So let me just dump into one of these questions, and this is actually something that happened to me. My man, his name is Desion O'Connell, Desion O'Connell, Facebook. He said, "Do I have to worry about duplicates with this cloud? Question mark. For instance, if a track is in more than one crate, playlist, or Rekordbox, will it upload the track twice to your Rekordbox? Also, I wish this was possible on Serato so I could easily upload and share my music crates with other DJs." Well, I wish a lot of things, but anyway, Pulse, can you help with that first part about being the duplicates?
Yeah,
I've experienced that. That's happened to me. So
unless the song exists in two different places in your collection, no, it's only one. So much like when you put one song into different playlists on the in your Rekordbox, that one song is the physical one song. It's just going to appear in multiple places. It doesn't put multiple copies anywhere.
Okay, so to answer your question, it will appear twice if you one song. That's if you duplicate it wrong, right? That's. I mean, if that happens, you're obviously doing something wrong, correct?
Yeah.
Hey, I just want to say, Desion, DJ Dex.
It's Declan.
Yeah, Declan, I have done the exact same thing twice. So I'm still trying to figure out. I figured out what I did wrong. Actually, I didn't look at the instructions. I just thought I knew everything and just blew over it. But I've done that same thing. Another question to you, Paul, said, and you're going to be you've probably heard this a few times. A lot of DJs are complaining about the XML export. Why the guy named Junior DJs would use Rekordbox if Pioneer allowed XML export? Why was it suddenly taken away? Can you answer that?
There's a lot of decisions that get made in the product planning that go to business reasons, and unfortunately, this was one of the things that they decided to cut out. But given the amount of feedback that DJs have been providing on its removal, I'll just leave it at that positive spin. We are considering options for what to do. So
yeah, I know the big powerful aspect of the XML import is being able to migrate between different libraries both ways, like being able to go back and forth. I mean, that for me is like a powerful thing because I do go back and forth between Serato and Rekordbox because a lot of it has to do with it was different club environments. So there were times where I would prefer to play just a full USB set, especially if I'm doing after hours in SF at 3 a.m. in like a not so, really safe area. I would rather just bring my headphones in a USB drive than my laptop. And then also, you know, when you're doing an open format set where it's like, all right, I do want to utilize my entire Serato library. And I mean, a lot of it for me, and just to go back on like when we talked about like for producer, it's just knowing both programs. Like,
Right.
it's not like I'm invested in one over the other completely. A lot of it just has to do with I'm used to like a workflow that I've used for so long. But I see the potential, the power, like with Rekordbox, and why I decided to, okay, I actually can do a USB only set, and the
Right.
tools are there now. Like,
Yeah.
where before I kind of questioned it, and a lot of it more so was like being so used to a full DVS workflow, versus like, okay, I think I'll be okay with, you know, a lot of it boiled down to like the hardware finally getting there. So like the search capability on the players themselves, like that,
Mhm.
that to me is the biggest thing, and how fast like search is as well. So it's like, okay, I can navigate a large library, a large enough library, and feel comfortable enough to like, I mean, even do, I mean, I have a Rekordbox like backup drive. Like it's kind of, I mean, I use everything. So, and a lot of it is like the producer background too, because that's how I learned how to produce. So, but yeah.
Okay, so there's a lot of questions coming in, guys, about you know, do I need to pay for core? Do I need to pay? I suggest a lot of you guys hit PJ's video on YouTube that really goes over this in depth. And because there's a huge list of Pioneer equipment, guys, and we can't really go over every single one. But for the better part of it is you almost gain something. You really don't necessarily have to pay for anything yet. You almost gain more because you have more access to the performance mode, which gives you time to just jump in and jump in Rekordbox and learn it.
I'll give you the easy answer to it is if it came with a Rekordbox license for version 5, it unlocks version 6. So whatever those functions you had before, those are there. And you can check out rekordbox.com. You go to the FAQs, there's a big long list of all the different Pioneer products and which functions are free and which ones are part of the paid plans.
And then my man Dex hit the question of the year, which is what's your guys' main thing, to sell Rekordbox over Serato, or do you guys use both? So
I use both.
Yeah,
Both.
so yeah, Q uses Pulse uses both. My man PJ over there has the biggest nerd answer to this question ever about scratching. And PJ told me the scratching sounds better with one than the other.
The algorithm. It's
Yeah.
it's just not as bright on Rekordbox, which I like because it has that natural vinyl sound to it. Wow.
So
I mean, and then like, yeah, for me personally, it sounds the same. But I mean, to each their own, right? That's the equivalent of like, you know, Logic tracks that get produced in Logic sound better than Ableton. It's like, I can't tell you. I mean, me personally, it all sounds the same. So.
One of the things I'd say is I was a long time Serato user, like day one Serato user. Day one, actually A-Track put me on Serato. Yeah, day one for real. And like I said, 2-3 years ago, I recently moved to Rekordbox. And one of the things I've noticed, because we're getting a few of these questions, is the difference between the two. The Rekordbox seems to be more rooted in a database and caring for your library. Like Rekordbox really seems to handle your library more than Serato, because I think Rekordbox has an actual database and they're not using the database from each MP3 that Serato's using. And when Serato first started, their main emphasis was the DJ part of it, the actual how the DJ and logistics of works. And Rekordbox is more, to me, my mere observations are that it was more about the library. And seeing now that both of them have come to about the same, I still see a lot of advantages with Rekordbox's library.
Yeah.
One of those things. Oh, go ahead, Pulse.
I was going to say, if you look at the heritage of Rekordbox, the first 3 versions were just music management.
Right.
They didn't get performance mode until version 4.
Right.
Yeah, because a lot of it was, I mean, there weren't really that many controllers, I don't think, even at the time. So that was the focus, right?
Yeah.
One of the big things that everyone in this webinar, please check out Rekordbox. It's basically free. I'm not saying that I'm not selling. I'm not getting anything from this at all. I'm talking from a person that actually moved from Serato to Rekordbox, and I'm not bashing Serato either, because there's a lot of things over there that I really like that aren't on Rekordbox. But one of the biggest game changers for me for Rekordbox, and when you guys see this, and everyone on the chat, if you know about this, chime in. And my man Q, I remember talking about this with him, is there's a thing called related tracks. So since Rekordbox is rooted with the library, you can set up this playlist per se, and you can say, okay, show me the last 5 gigs I did, what song I played near this song, 5 BPM up and 5 BPM down, or the same key or a different key or same genre. Like, you can filter it. So if you're ever DJing and you go like, oh damn, I don't know what to play anymore, or I'm stuck, or I can't just play the same shit I played last night. You look at related tracks and it will tell you what you thought about playing or what you played with that track almost 3 years ago, 2 years ago, 4 gigs ago, whatever you want. And that is absolutely amazing. That totally blew my mind that it could do something like that, because it's basically like another DJ friend next to you telling you, play this, have you seen this, like this. Yeah, exactly. So the library, there's a palette feature in Rekordbox that I started skimming through that is really, really good. So as you guys start going through, and that my man Jim is saying the same thing about related tracks. As you guys start going through Rekordbox, and please get it, it's free, and check it out, you'll see this related tracks function is insanely powerful. And it's that's the one thing that has me like, hey, I'm good, I'm staying over here just for that feature alone, because that has saved my ass several times.
Yeah, especially like investing time and like putting in all that metadata. Like, that's what I'm learning like right now, because that's where a lot of these systems like work well together. So it wasn't until I started organizing my library in Rekordbox and I would pay attention to even like things like genre. I would add things into like the comments and all that. And the thing is that like, it's not just specific to that program. Like, when I load these MP3s, like in Serato, like all those tags like show up also. But yeah, like all those, like, yeah, like when Warren had showed me that, I was like, wow, like I didn't even know that was a thing that was even possible in like a software program. But yeah, like definitely, yeah, that was for sure like a game changer for me as well. Like when you showed me that. So
PJ, I wanted to say, since you kind of use both of them going back and forth, are there any advantages over one or the other that you've seen, or besides the scratching algorithm that you talked about earlier? Like, is there anything else that you see?
Well, yeah, I'm a huge nerd for just the scratch sound quality, so that was my big one.
Have you played with
like I know Pauls don't like the sample, but I could honestly do a blindfold test and with cue scratching and tell you which one's which. So.
Wow, if I would have known that before this, I would have set that up.
That would have been fun to do.
Would have set that up.
Yeah.
Have you PJ?
Well, the integration with the hardware is a little bit more seamless because it's Pioneer to Pioneer.
Yeah, of course.
So,
yeah,
that makes sense.
Just having I grew up on using CDJs, way before software, and then to switch to Serato, it was like, the way the hot cues work were a little different. Just the auto loop. I like having my classic Pioneer functions, like having like manual in and out there again. So it's like, just depending on the hardware that you're using, it feels more like the stuff I grew up on. So I kind of like that too. When I'm not playing on Serato, I kind of have that. For me, it's like I get into that same creative vibe I did that I haven't been in because I've moved on from that software. I moved on to software from old school CDJs. Now I'm starting to have those little nuggets like, oh my gosh, I used to do this. I used to do those tight loops. Now I can do it with the echo. I got my beat effects, so it's just being on the Pioneer ecosystems makes me play a little differently. And it's not to say that I don't play well on Serato. It's just the fact that just like different DAWs, like you produce a different way when you're using Logic versus Ableton versus FL Studio,
But I think it's cool that like you talk about your history, because like with me, like I was a vinyl DJ first. So you know, before I didn't go through and invest in like Final Scratch or anything. It wasn't until I first like saw Serato, but it was very basic, right? Like and even like I didn't play on CDJs during that time, which definitely had way more bells and whistles than like what you could do on just like turntables. So just playing music was like my focus. It's not until now, like years upon years later, where it's like, oh, like I can do this and this is a cool function, like, oh, and whereas like your workflow was already within like CDJs, and that like translates so much better, and like staying like within your ecosystem. So
well, that's a key word that you use that we described for Rekordbox, is because it is the same software that you can take to your same music collection taken to the hardware, to a controller, and even on the controller front and our hardware front, they've all got a very similar layout and design now. So you have that comfort of moving from an entry-level controller all the way up to the top-level CDJs, and you have the familiarity. And I think that, as much as anything, is important for DJs. When you're moving from one software to the other, you're just like, oh, I got to relearn, where was that thing I was looking for? But with this, it's like, you know, the ecosystem makes it really convenient to use a wide variety of products.
Like you could start with the DDJ 200 and basically work your way up to a CDJ 2000.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of other questions. So I just skipped over. Hey, what up, Fabian? My man Hop is in here also. One of the questions that keeps coming up is about the whole library sync, and taken from a person who, like I said, I messed up twice on this already, and I talked to Pulse about it. And one of the first things I would do when you want to do the whole syncing on Cloud Sync, I would copy and back up your library first.
Absolutely.
That's the first thing you can do, because there's little nuances and things that, like I said, I'm still kind of stumbling over. I messed up twice on it already, and I'm still kind of playing around with it and figuring out. But the beauty of being able to sync to two different computers is something I'm definitely going to check out. Another question I had are people saying they love related tracks. Hoppa wanted to know about, do I need a separate pro Dropbox subscription for Cloud Sync?
No,
you don't.
No, you could use a free one.
Oh yeah.
If you got less than 2 gigabytes of music you want to throw into the cloud, and it's selective. You don't have to put every song that you have into Dropbox. So
yeah, you don't have to put every song there, guys. You can, to go from there. Yeah. The other thing is, okay, so my man Jason B, DMS, he hasn't peeped Rekordbox in a minute. Initially, he wasn't interested in because it didn't have video capabilities. But can either you, PJ, or Pulse speak on the video capabilities of Rekordbox? Have you used it? Do you know much about that? I have not used it, so I really don't
actually know. That's one of the new big things with Rekordbox 6 is that the video is now integrated with the regular collection. So before, Serato's had this, and this is what a lot of guys were asking for, is a unified collection where you can put video and audio into the same playlist, and Rekordbox 5 had the limitation, but now get them in all in the same place, so you can do video in its playlist all together. I think where the limitation came from before was that everyone was exporting the software. Remember I talked about this, the history of the Rekordbox was that it was for export purposes.
Right.
Well, you couldn't export a video, so they said, well, let's just keep them separate. But now, of course, it is integrated, and you just have to watch out. In case you are exporting for USB, you get a warning. But that's it. It's just a lot more user-friendly now for VJs as well. Okay, so Jason, my man Jason B, what I'd like to tell you is, dude, it's free. Try it out. Like, try it out and let me know, because I was curious about the same question. So let me know also. Other questions I'm looking at is, are there plans as a full product rather than a monthly subscription? Do you know any of that about that, Pulse, from the business side? I'll tell you a wonderful secret around that. You go and buy a DDJ XP1 or XP2. You can pick up the XP1 used on eBay for like $120. That's your one-time purchase. No, there are no plans to move back to a single standalone license at this time. It's all subscription. Okay, and if you don't
covered that in that video. So,
yeah. Look at PJ's video, but yeah, the XP1, if you guys don't use that thing's absolutely amazing, or XP2. The other thing I wanted to say real quick about subscriptions, so if you guys look far back, and I will say, Q, real quick, I was on Final Scratch. So
you innovated even back in the day.
Back, dude. I used Linux, so Final Scratch. That's how bad I was. Yeah. So anyway, what I wanted to say was one of the things you guys, the same thing happened with all you guys Serato heads. The same thing happened with Serato, with Scratch Live and Serato DJ. They evolved. They didn't go to the subscription model, but what happens is you put out a new piece of software, a new database, and you're able to do new things. And what happens, it enables them to innovate and do more. You saw this with Serato when they went with 64-bit. When they were only 32, they went to 64-bit. It allows them to innovate more. So with this business decision to go subscription, yes, it sucks on one hand, but if you look at the ability that this company will now have to bring more features to Rekordbox and help this grow, and then you look at Serato where they're going to be like, oh shit, here comes Rekordbox, and Tractor goes, oh shit, here comes Tractor, here comes Rekordbox and Serato. Like everyone's going to be trying to one up each other, and honestly, that is awesome for us.
Yeah.
And I think you're seeing that. Q, you can answer this, but I think you're seeing that a lot with Denon and Denon's Prime and the new I forget the name of that small ass controller they have, but that thing,
the Prime Go.
Yeah, that thing's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. Like you said, like I mean, competition like benefits all of us. I mean, not only do I see that in the DJ world, but like in the pro audio world as well. Yeah, because it's really when someone does something out of the box, then everyone pays attention, and it's not a bad thing because you're gonna see the ripple effect of that.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things. And you guys just look back at history when you saw Scratch Live or Serato DJ, and oh my God, I saw so many people staying on that. What was his name? Not Clutch. I forgot his name, but
well, there's still a lot of people still rocking Scratch Live.
Still a lot of people
like,
Scratch Live. Anyway, so and that's the other thing. If you have version 5, you don't have to go to version 6. You can hang out on version 5 for a while and let us idiots figure out everything that's wrong with it, and then you can come on to version 6 when you feel like it. Like, so honestly, guys, it's not that big of a deal. I think this is better for the whole DJ community. To get and all. I would say my man Junior's talking about Ableton Link, and thank you, PJ, with all your gear behind you. Have you tried Ableton Link with Rekordbox?
I haven't used Ableton Link for anything, only because I don't have a second computer to do it with. So
Okay.
You don't need the computer anymore.
My mind's not not strong. I have problems like just live streaming, so
Link to MIDI.
Oh,
nice. That is fantastic. Link to MIDI. I'm trying to get without the glare. You can run this on your phone, and you can plug it into your like the camera kit. Plug it into any other MIDI USB device. It recognizes the device and sends the signal out to the. So it's like I can synchronize from my computer over to gear on the other side of the room wirelessly. Oh wow! It's all perfectly in sync. It's awesome.
Okay,
it's a free app, by the way.
There you go. Another free app by Pulse, ladies and gentlemen.
It's not me. It's third party.
You get an app. You get an app. Let's see. What else? Other questions we got? A lot of people are. Let's see. Is the video available without subscription? I don't think so. That's
only for the RZX. Yeah, that's the only unit that had that as a key included. So it's the only one that gets it as a hardware unlock. For everyone else, it's part of the creative plan.
So RZX. I asked someone. I think it was Espinosa asked about the sequencer. Is a sequencer available in?
That's one of the ones that we're fighting to get brought back over because it was previously available, but they somehow paywalled it. So fingers crossed that we can convince the engineers to free that one for you guys.
And by the way, guys, I just want to tell you that Pulse is on our side. As you can see, he is on our side. I'm
a DJ myself. I use the stuff. I have the same wants that you do.
Exactly. Are you able to MIDI map on a non-Pioneer controller so long as I have a Pioneer main controller connected?
Yes.
That's Espinoza asked that.
Yes.
New lighting features. What do the new lighting features do?
Oh, okay. So we've actually added a few things. One of the things that guys were asking for is limiting the moving heads. So you can actually say, I don't want it to go over into the, I want the lights to stay on the dance floor instead of going over the tables at my wedding. That's in there now. We've got overrides, manual overrides. So if you were complaining about the lack of gobo control, you got it now. Just set it up that you have a specific value and you can just toggle those custom MIDIs on and off. There's static scenes and custom colors are coming soon. So lots of lighting updates as well.
Awesome. I got let's see. My man Matt said I was prepared to upgrade the DDJ 1000 or upgrade to the DDJ 1000 or the XDJ XZ until the coronavirus hit us. Well, Matt, I was prepared to do a lot of things before the coronavirus hit us. So welcome to the club.
Like going outside.
Like going outside. Yeah,
well, you're outside right now. So you're good, right?
My man Pulse is in the woods. Let's see. I'm trying to look over. You guys go ahead, keep the questions coming. My man Jim says software created by DJs for DJs. Pulse says thank you, Pulse. Got a lot of Pulse fans on here.
What's Pulse's social?
I'm not on social. I'm the anti-social.
Pulse is anti. You handle the forum, don't you? Is that you?
I do. That's me on the forum. Yeah, you can find me on the forums, or you can find my YouTube channel. But apart from that, I'm completely off social.
You're in the woods.
DJ Q, what's your socials? DJ Q at
DJ Q.
Okay, at DJ Q. DJ, what's yours?
Joni.
At
PRIYONJONI.
I think I just did. And mine's at 702. And if you want to talk to Pulse, just hit the Pioneer forum boards, and he's all over that. Let's see. Let me go over these things real quick again. Lighting features. Okay, a lot of questions about the subscriptions. Again, please, guys, look at the chart that's on the Rekordbox website, or for easier and quicker, just go to PJ's YouTube channel that he did, and he has a couple video. Oh, he have one video on Rekordbox 6 where he goes over all of that.
It's on our website, on the DMS website.
It's on the DMS website also. Yes, it is. Thank you.
Little plug.
Yeah. A lot of people use both. Awesome, guys. God, there's a lot of questions.
Stevie asked if the DDJ 1000 will be forced into subscription. No, you can use it for free.
There you go.
That's a common one. Like a lot of people really think that I have to buy Rekordbox 6 that own DDJ 1000s. So it's like, check on your gear, read up on the FAQ.
Yeah.
The skins mode. My man Lee talked about the skins mode, which I totally forgot about. But the daylight skin. That's when I was DJing at the pool a lot. I would have to use like the Microsoft Inverse, and that was that's
the only thing that screwed me up the most about that was that your waveforms were changing color, and then you had to like wrap your head around. This is the opposite color I'm looking for now. But now the waveform stays the same color, and everything else is able to be red. So it's good.
I think okay. Is there any place?
You need some help?
I was trying to read this guy. Sorry, David. Is there any place to see the feature pipeline for future updates? I don't think so.
No, and I'll tell you why there's not. If you look back at the SP16, the Torres production unit, we had that was one of the first units where we ever said, here's our roadmap for the product. And what happened is they ended up missing target dates or weren't able to implement the features 100% that they had committed to. So there were a lot of unhappy users about that. And they learned and said, you know what, let's just go back to the way we did before, which was we let you know what is coming out when it comes out. Before that, I mean, you can ask us and I will lie to your face and say I have no idea until the day it's released. I might give you a little wink and a nudge, but you keep your requests and feedback coming, and we do try to take all that into consideration.
Big shout out to AGI Pro, big partners with us at DMS. They're checking in on here also. My man Fred said Pulse spill the beans. I guess that's really it.
Yeah, I'll spill the beans on the new CDJ. Hold on. I got to unplug.
What's he doing?
On the new CDJs.
What? Yeah, right.
All right. It's small. It's small. It fits in my hands.
Oh, look at that.
This little thing. There we go.
I remember that.
What's old is new again.
You guys are going retro. It comes full circle, right? I saw cassettes at Urban Outfitters, and now
sponsored by Fisher Price. There you go.
But hey, this is 2 logos ago, man. This is like
wow.
This is the original.
I remember that.
New one here, and then we've got version 3.
Okay, so will Rekordbox DJ app be available one day on Android user?
Android.
Yes.
I love you guys. But okay, so here's why we haven't hit the Android market. Fragmented OS and fragmented hardware. It is so much harder to develop for the variations on the wide variety of operating systems, and then the subversions that the carriers do themselves, and then the hardware is different. It's a lot harder for developers to make a consistent experience. So we've stayed focused on iOS, which in our research has been primarily the operating system that DJs are using. So sorry guys, it's on the radar, but we don't have any timeline for it.
I'm a huge
Android. You gotta get an iPhone, Warren.
Yeah, I'm a huge Android fanboy, but I definitely agree with what you're saying. So I move on. I might get an old iPhone to work on my cue points on the airplane, but that'll be it. I think that's really it. Like, we haven't got any more questions coming in. I'm kind of surprised, but
well, here you go. I have one for you, Pulse. What's one feature that you would really love to be implemented in like the next Rekordbox version?
Oh man, you know what? I have a list. I have a running list of features that we've put in, both stuff that I've gathered from users, our demo team, PJ's on the demo team, feedback galore. Some of them have been on there for 3 years that I haven't seen added yet. Simple things like coming from Serato. I've been a Serato DJ user since like Scratch Live. I actually used the CDJ 400s were the first device I was using. Controller mode, oh my god, I was in. The color coding for the key is just like brainless for me. I put everything into BPM sort, and then the key as a secondary sort, and it's just like that rainbow of keys. I just scroll through. I love it. I wish we had it. It's one of the things that everyone requests, but
I agree with that one.
It's a lot of small things that add up to the big overall. So
for Rekordbox 6, is it a whole new code base? Like, you guys started from scratch, or is it building up? Because I know like usually there's limitations to being able to do certain things. And so that's why, for example, Scratch Live completely from the ground up, rewrote and came up with Serato DJ. So is this what happened from 5 to 6? Or maybe it happened in a previous version? Or
well, it was actually version 3 was a big change in preparation for 4, which introduced the performance mode. The big change for version 6 is actually changing our database format. We moved from the device database to an SQLite database, which is now encrypted, and that is a lot faster. So it's able to be more responsive and will work with larger libraries as well.
Cool.
I could say, coming from day one Serato, the one feature I really miss on Rekordbox is the flip. I really miss flip. I think that's the only thing at this point I really miss from Rekordbox. I mean, from Serato.
Would you use flip a lot?
I use flip a lot. I was one of the few people that I used flip a lot.
Like, I used flip for a little bit, but I felt like it was faster for me to just edit the track myself.
Well, see, I think I think it's the DJ mindset and the producer mindset. Like,
true.
I would literally be in the car driving to the gig going, damn, I just need to jump to the chorus of that song. And I'm thinking, oh, you could do an edit, or I could go. I'm like, dude, I just pull out flip and go, okay, boom, boom. Like, just before the gig, I would be blah, 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 done. And
okay. I could get.
Yeah. So I mean, that PJ, the question goes to you. What features do you wish were be on the next 6.1?
You know what's crazy is, like, I've been subconsciously thinking of what just Paul said, the color coding on because I know, like, I know A minor is purplish and 9 is more purple, E minor. So
that's hilarious.
I would just mine was just
and you got my Q. Have you got my wheel?
What's that? I was about to pull it up.
I made that, right? I color coded that.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah.
Really?
Wow.
They had that wheel, and actually, I reversed the A and B on it. This was like back in the day. I was doing harmonic mixing by ear, and I was always these ugly wheels. I made that thing in Photoshop one day, and it's been everywhere.
I printed 2 of these and laminated them, and
that's awesome.
These just like they're right here next to my push. Like,
wow.
It's my go-to.
Yeah. Q, what about you, Mr. Prime? Have you messed with Tractor at all?
Actually, I've only messed with Tractor like when I've gone to like NAMM and ADE, but I never really like dived in like personally.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from Prime, Rekordbox, and Serato, what would you like to see on the next version of Serato?
Oh man, I don't. No, I'm such a basic user. I feel like because a lot of it for me is like the crate organization, right? And so that already exists in Rekordbox. So I'm more of a data nerd than a performance nerd. Like a lot of like what I do is like more on the fly. So yeah, but it did help though. But I will say the first time I jumped on Rekordbox, because when I had bought an S9, I went ahead and I bought the vinyl, and I rocked the DVS for a little bit, and I was like, oh man, loading a track is like so foreign to me because I was still using the Serato shortcuts. And I forget who I reached out to, and they're like, "Oh, did you know you can just like remap the keyboard shortcut and all that?" And I'm like, really? That's it? And so that's the exact
we got to speak about that. That was another thing. So everyone out there on Serato, you can remap shortcuts on Pioneer, and it's not just like if Serato has like 10 shortcuts, Rekordbox has 110. Like there's
so hard to find anything in there. You can
remap anything. So, and I'll send it to anyone who wants to try Rekordbox. Email me, warren@directmusicservice.com. I have a Serato map. I got it from Suede from Miami. Was it DJ Suede? Used to work for you guys? It was Suede? Guy from Miami. I forgot his name. Damn. Anyway, he sent it to me.
Oh, Super Sweet. My
bad. Yeah. He sent it to me, and I doctored it up. And so I have like basically all the Serato shortcuts for Rekordbox. And so yeah, if you guys want a shortcut list, warren@directmusicservice.com. I'll send you mine. And I added a couple little things to it too. The other thing was, so now we got more questions coming in. Somebody wanted to know about the prepare window.
Tag. It's just called Tag. It's there.
I want to say it's called Tag in Rekordbox. It's already there. Will quantizing and analyzation be smart enough to determine certain auto cue points, like in certain transition areas of most tunes? Example, like 16 bars, the drop happens, another 8 bars is the drop, etc.
You know, it's really good for that. I'm assuming it's called the same thing in Rekordbox, but I've never used it. It's the beat jump feature. Like I'll do the 16, and and for that I actually do cue points on the fly. Like I do more on the fly cue points, like just in general. Because I don't know, like I know Mixing Key, like for example, has the ability to set certain cue points, but it's always been hit or miss for me. So I never relied on that because I still will key all my tracks. But beat jump, like I mean, I don't know about like anybody else, but like we have like a huge library, right, of music that we get. So for me, I would rather just have everything in a crate and set cue points like then and there. Because usually it's before a gig that I'm just like dumping stuff in a folder, and then after that I'll actually realize what I really did play, and then that's what's gonna become or like move into the appropriate crates with the right tags. So yeah.
I go one by one. Like when it comes to the harmonic key, I double check it because it's no program is perfect with it.
I agree. I've had them all like detect different keys between Mixing Key, Serato, Rekordbox. For me, it was more so of like, you know what, like the majority of my tracks were scanned with Mixing Key, so I'm gonna just keep like that, just so if it's off, well, at least I know it's
consistent.
It's gonna be consistent, with all the other songs. So
I would to answer that question about David, I would say the I think I know what you're talking about as far as trying to like 16 bars to the break and to the drop and stuff like that. I use with Rekordbox using a combination of the not phrase? Is a phrase, right? The phrase.
And there's phrase analysis as well.
Yeah, the phrase analysis and cue point and beat jump. You can kind of find out those points, especially with a standard like house song or something. Phrase is pretty accurate on Rekordbox. Let's see. I love Mixing Key with Rekordbox. Will work with Mixing Key, able to import the cue point. I think that's a yes.
Yes, you can. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that was John's question. Jim says he's gonna get a harmonic wheel sticker for his laptop. Pulse, you got any of those to give away?
I don't have stickers. No, I never made stickers out of them. It's all digital.
Yeah, a lot of people want Rekordbox Flip. A lot of people like Serato Flip. Yeah, I'm not the only one. Question for Pulse: ambient mode and interludes. Can you explain?
It's just basically going to do an option when you don't have a track playing. So the ambient mode is just, here's what the lights will default to.
My man George Espinosa, for SoundCloud cloud integration, is there a way to do different sorts of SoundCloud playlists? RB defaults to chronological order, what Serato does alphabetical order, which is much easier. Pulse?
SoundCloud playlists.
He says that Rekordbox defaults to chronological order, and then Serato does the alpha order.
Well, you can reorganize them. You just click on the column header.
Probably sounds like you could just drag them.
Yeah, just click. I'm not sure. I mean, I typically will sort mine by the order they're in, and then if I want to search for something, I'll search or hit the column header to sort it.
All right. Well, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up, guys. We're coming towards the end of an hour, or close to an hour, and I don't want to take too much more time. If you guys have any more questions, rifle them in. I'd want to start with like PJ. What are your thoughts with version 6 and Serato and Rekordbox?
We didn't even get into some of the other stuff, like the 3-band waveform. You know,
oh, the 3-band waveform.
So good.
Yeah.
Talk about that one, because I actually like that one.
That's super amazing for especially when you never listened to the song and you just threw it in your library and you just kind of want to know when like there's a drop and stuff. It's a little easier because the way music is mastered is just like breakdowns and drops just appear as blocks now, you know.
Yeah.
But like just way too compressed. So it kind of helps knowing the difference between where the mids are, where the kicks are, because that's where the bass and the bass line are. And with the treble. So that, oh my gosh, that I'm in and out of using that, like, and it's a little weird jumping back and forth because it does look really, really different. But if you know, like, that's something to really check out because it really helps you tell what's coming up even easier than, you know, the regular waveforms.
Did we miss anything else, PJ?
That was sticking in my mind for a few minutes. So.
Pulse, did we miss anything else? That's all the major ones, right?
Yeah, well, In Flight is a new collaborator. Sorry, right. You guys got to get on that thing.
I use In Flight a lot. Like I'd say the majority of promos that I get are through In Flight.
Damn, I gotta peep that.
Yeah.
Let's see. 3-band is awesome. We love 3-band. Okay, well, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. My man Pulse, thank you so much for joining us. Any other last words you want to say about people jumping on Rekordbox now? And you know,
one thing that people might not realize is if you sign up for if you don't have hardware that unlocks automatically and you got to get a plan, if you sign up for the any of the plans, the current promo prices are the lifetime for Rekordbox 6 subscriptions. So if you lock it in now, we're not changing the price on you. You get that $6.99 or $9.99 intro price. I'm not trying to make a sale, just trying to give you a heads up.
All right.
And that expires July 13th.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I love to save money.
Q, what about you? Any last words on the 3 different platforms that you use, and you being the data nerd you are?
I mean, to me, you know, where it really like was apparent, like the workflow was getting the XDJ XZ, because like today I recorded a mix in standalone. I was telling Pulse earlier, and then I've been doing my live streams with Serato, so the workflow, like, you really kind of see like all the workflows are similar, and it really reinforces the idea of like, you never know when, like, that's what happened to me. I never knew I would ever run into a scenario where it's like, oh, I have to do like standalone because like it's a I mean, I'm more in the dance world, but like, yeah, this is a club that like they don't have a Serato box, like, and you're gonna be rocking CDJs. So I definitely download it. You know, what do you have to lose? Like, it's good to just know as many like different platforms like as possible, because you don't know what situation you're gonna run into whenever we go back to clubs. So
and just like, again, guys, everyone, thanks a lot for tuning in. If you want more information, please check out my man PJ's YouTube video about Rekordbox 6. He touches upon mostly Rekordbox 6 and all the new things, and what controllers work. Do you have to get a subscription? What you get with the subscription, etc. In closing, I'd like to say that you guys, the time now is the time to learn something. And you know, you being a DJ, just don't stick to Rekordbox because don't stick to Serato or you know, anything else. I was looking at virtual DJ a couple months ago on the Real, and because you can actually see different parts and how different programs are better. And then once you realize those are better, you can go to the one that you like or the one you favor the most and kind of push to get those product features in. Like we're talking about, like related tracks. Like everyone is on Serato has no clue what I'm talking about related tracks, but I'm telling you, it's like having another DJ right next to you. Like you get that thing popping, like Q was saying, with all your metadata. You get all that stuff in there, and you're doing a gig and you get lost. You look at related tracks and you just discover 3 more hours. Like it's, oh, okay, yeah, I'll go this route. So I just want to say thanks for everyone for tuning in to the webinar. We definitely have more of these. Thanks again. Thanks again, guys.
You're welcome.
Guys.
Thanks.
Peace.